Hi there, I'm Mary Annarella, also known as Lyrical Knits, and this is a tutorial for how to work the smocking stitch for this dragonfly pattern. There are two of these smocking stitches in this pattern. One that goes over 6, where you smock 6 stitches, and these ones here and here, let's zoom in a little bit for you, where only 2 stitches are smocked or wrapped in a way. So to start off, I'm going to show you how to do the 2-stitch smock. And to do that, I'll bring my working yarn here. I will work my little I-cord edge. And you know, I find that the one on the right side here, I have to keep kind of snug, or this purl stitch here can get a little loose. So when I go to purl this, I just kind of give it an extra tug, just like that, and keep it snug. Maybe for you it won't be so much making it tighter, but just not leaving it loose. Okay, so I've worked up to the part in the pattern where I have to smock these 2 stitches, because I didn't want to cable them, because I wanted something simpler. So what I do is I insert the right needle in between the 2nd and 3rd stitch on the left needle. I'm not going to insert my needle into either one of those stitches, but just the space between them. So let's get a little closer. Underneath the needle and in between them. And around on the back side, I'm going to catch my yarn and pull a stitch through. So now I've got this extra loop here on my needle. I'm going to place it onto the left needle like that. And because I want the stitch count to remain the same, I'm going to knit those first 2 stitches together now. So my extra loop stitch will be worked with the next stitch. So I'm going to knit those 2 together. Go. And then knit the 2nd stitch, just like that. Okay. So now I'll just purl up to the next spot where I have to do this again, and I'll show you one more time. This is a lovely fluffy yarn to work with. I believe it's called Billow, and it's an alpaca cotton blend. Very fluffy and very soft. Nice for you if you can't do mohair. Anyhow, I'm going to do a smock stitch over these next 2 stitches here. So I'll count my 1st stitch, 2nd stitch, and then I'm going to insert my right needle into the space between the 2nd and the 3rd stitch on that left needle. So I'll insert it there and catch a loop just around the back. There we go. And draw a loop through. I'm just taking this nice and slowly. I am not keeping it tight like that because it's gonna cause problems for you in the next row if it's too tight. So I don't know, I mean, you don't want it loose like that, but just sort of an appropriate amount so that when you put that loop back on the left needle, you can easily knit it together with that stitch right next to it. So there we go. Knit 1 and knit 2. And I'll just work to the end here. And because this is an I-cord, I'm going to slip those last 3 stitches with the yarn held in front. Let's just take a look at what we did here. So here we have wrapped or smocked these 2 stitches over here and these 2 here. I want to point out to you that because you're working that 1st stitch with that little extra wrap or the smocked part, that the 1st stitch of these smocked stitches can get a little loose. So what I do to keep it from getting too loose is that on the return row, I just make sure that I take it easy on that 1 stitch. So if we turn our work to the wrong side, 3 I-cord stitches. I'm just working the stitches as they are presented right now. Okay, and these are my 2 wrapped or smocked stitches. I'll just purl that first one. And I'll just take it easy on this next one. Like, I'm not gonna go too fast, and I'm gonna keep it kind of close to the tip. I personally find, and a lot of knitters find, that if you purl a little closer to the tip, that you can keep your purls a little tighter in general. And so I apply that to my smocked stitch. There. Okay, so I've worked up to the next set of smock stitches, and remember, this is the one over here that you worked with that extra loop, that extra smocked loop. So we want to go easy on that one. You know, this one, fine, but I just want to make sure I don't like yank it too hard or anything like that, and then it won't stretch out. There we go. And I'll slip those last 3 stitches. Okay. Now the patterning is going to form where I'm going to basically do this again up here, and I'll be right back to show you how to do the 6-stitch smock. Okay, so we are on the row where we have to do our smock 6 stitches. So let's just work right up to here, up to that point. I'll knit my 3 I-cord stitches. I'll keep that purl stitch next to it, a little extra snug. And now these next 6 stitches, this is where the chart and line by line instructions tell you to smock 6 stitches. So what it means is that these next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches need to have a wrap around them. And the way we do it, we will insert our right needle into the space between the 6th and 7th stitch on that left needle. So that hole that's right there. So I'll insert it right there in the hole. It is not into a stitch. It's right underneath the needle itself. And just poke your needle through the whole thing, front to back. And then draw through a loop, like so. I give it a little slack, but you know, you don't want it like tight like this, and you don't want it super loose. Just slip that loop back onto the left needle and knit that loop together with the stitch right next to it. So that'll maintain your stitch count. Knit 1, so I knit those 2 together. Now I'll knit 1 more, purl 2, and knit 2. Now, as a little reminder, this first stitch that you knit together with that smocking loop, that can tend to be a little loose after the next row. So when you come back to it on the wrong side row, make sure you just go a little easy on it. So as we do that, here's the wrong side row. I'll just work up to those stitches that have been smocked. And on the reverse side of the smocked stitches, you're going to purl 2, knit 2, purl 2. Knit 2, purl 2, but remember that last one right there, don't yank it too hard. I like to keep it close to the tip when I draw through my loop, and just keep it a little extra snug. But really, you just don't want to handle it in a rough manner at all. And I'll slip my last 3 stitches Let's take a look at it right here. Yeah, and that draws them together and it takes the place of a cable and it looks really pretty and it's pretty darn easy to work. To show you how to do the bind off for this project, this is a second project. It is the same pattern, just in a different color. Same yarn, different color. For the bind off, I am ready to do it with the wrong side facing up. I've completed the chart, so you do the bind off on the wrong side. And the instructions say to bind off the first 2 stitches. So I will knit that around, and I'm doing it knitwise. So you just bind it off in the usual way. There's one, and the second that I've bound off knitwise. Now I still have 3 stitches over here on the left hand needle and 1 stitch on the right hand needle. I'm going to set that down. Oops, hold things steady. And I'm going to transfer these 3 stitches that are on the left needle onto a double pointed needle. So I have a double pointed needle handy, and I'll just transfer them one at a time. There we go. So they're on the double pointed needle. Now the thing is, to continue binding these off, you know, you normally knit or purl the next stitch and on the needle, but this is a I-cord. These are 2 I-cord edgings, and this stitch over here is the one that I want to bind off next. So what I'm going to do is, with the wrong side facing, you can hold it up this way, you're going to turn that double pointed needle clockwise 180 degrees, just like that, so that now this stitch here is the first stitch, it was the last stitch, and we're going to bind them off purlwise. So I'll just do that, and it just kind of flips it around a little bit and gives a slightly neater edge, and I liked that. Last one, and then I'll just get my snips and cut the yarn and pull the loop through my last stitch like so, and weave in the ends. So I hope you've enjoyed the pattern, and I hope you've enjoyed the knitting. Bye-bye.